Hi everyone, my name is Jorge Cortez. Welcome back to my channel, Crafter in Training, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make a booklet with a lot of pages. Yes, I am aware that I already have a booklet tutorial, but think of this as an updated tutorial, and with more pages. A booklet in average has a total of 3 to 4 pages, which it was the number of pages that my original tutorial took into account. However, this time I'm making a booklet with 9 pages, which in total gives you, when completed, 18 pages, which is a lot. I made this because I needed a booklet to contain all the lyrics to Olivia Rodrigo's Guts Spill, which is the deluxe version of her album Guts, which there are a lot of lyrics because it's a very long album. Also, you may not know this, but to have a thicker booklet means you have to adjust a few things while designing before printing. So with all of that being said, let's get started. Start off by going into the description of this video. Look for the section called Templates and click on the link. This will take you to my personal OneDrive folder titled Music Packaging, where I have all the templates available for free. If it does not open for you, try to clear cookies and cache or try a different browser. I regularly check that the files have not been taken down or deleted. Open the folder labeled Templates, then select the file labeled To Booklet New and click on Download. You can open it with Photoshop directly from the downloads. Remember, if you don't have Photoshop, you can use Photopea online. Once the document opens, you should see this. If you can tell, we have these guides on the edges. You might be wondering what they are for. Well, when printing, sometimes the image might shift to either side. Sometimes it's by millimeters, but a millimeter can make the difference and show some white on the booklet. Like this booklet I made. As you can tell, I did not use the edges, and when cutting the final product, it showed a little bit of white. It's not much, but it's noticeable, and it annoys me. Not enough to the point of redoing the whole thing, but annoying nonetheless. So the edges are to ensure that when cutting the final product, no white shows, or the color of the paper that you're using. For designing the booklet, I recommend you first decide all the images you want to use and in what order you want to have them. For me, I will basically recreate the whole booklet of Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. So I use my official Guts copy to look at all the images on the booklet and try my best to match the images to the ones that are made available online. The way I get my images most of the time is by going to Google Images, and I search something like Olivia Rodrigo Guts Official Photoshoot. Once I get the result, I go to the tools, then size, and filter it by large images. This might provide you with the higher resolution images. And I say might because sometimes the images are large but still pixelated. So just make sure to look through all of them and download them to a folder to use on your booklet. I also go to Google and search my prompt in all. Sometimes there might be blogs that will have images for what you are looking for, like this blog, Olivia Rodrigo Wiki, and get my images here. If any of your images are low quality and you can seem to find them in better quality, what I do is to go to this website called pickwish.com, not sponsored by the way. You do have to be registered, but some of the features are free and I do use it constantly, so I'll say it's worth it. Click on Enhance Photo and upload the photo you like to enhance the quality of. The website will enhance the quality, providing you with a better looking image. You can download it and use it as you wish. The quality will not improve drastically. It does depend on the original quality of your image, but it's better than nothing. I will start by doing the front and the back of the booklet. As you can tell, I have left the cover without edges. This will act as a cutting guide. If any of your images are not large enough to fit the whole frame and the background is a solid color, use the dropper tool to get the color of the background, then using the paint bucket tool, color the rest of the background. However, if your image is not a solid color, you can use the select tool and select the empty edges of the image, overlapping a little with your image, and making sure you are in the correct layer, right click, and when the menu opens, select Fill, then this menu will appear where it says Content. Open the menu and select Content Aware, click OK, and this might give you an extended edge. You can also try using the Generative Fill option, which uses AI. I'm not a huge fan of AI, but sometimes it's okay, I guess. If you are using Photopea though, the option is not available. The last option, and the one I used to use before, You can select the edge of your image, right-click, and select Layer via Copy. This will copy the edge of your image. Then I positioned it on the edge. Then I click Ctrl T on Windows or Command T on Mac, then select Flip Vertically. This will flip the image and it will mirror the edges, giving you an extended edge. This might seem like a lot, but I assure you it might save your project from failing. I like keeping each page organized in folders so the layers won't mix. Once you have the images all placed, you might start adding text. Like I mentioned earlier, I am basically recreating the booklet of the original album. So I use scans of the original booklet to guide me on where the lyrics go, although if you are creating a booklet from scratch, this might not be necessary. I found the font I needed to use by intensively searching for the font used on the booklet and found the results on a blog. Sometimes if the font is common, I can easily download it directly from dafont.com. Remember that when designing your booklet, you never want to add text near the edges. You want to keep about 0.3 centimeters both top and bottom and the sides. Now, here is where we might differ from my previous tutorial. There's something in bookmaking when you fold a bunch of pieces of paper together, the innermost pieces stick out. That's called paper creep. These edges will get cut in the final product, making the innermost pieces shorter than the outermost pieces. So when designing the pages in the center, starting at page 6 to page 9, which will be the pages closest to the center, it's important we take this into account. If not, when cutting the final product, it might look something like this. To avoid this, what I do is I take the section tool, select the edge of the page and move the selection right next to the one that is already there. And pulling from the measure tool on the edge, drag a guide and place it there. This will give you a guide for the next few pages. As you can see, the difference between the page that will not get ruined when cutting and this page, that the text is further from the edge. If this page were to have the text on the edge, it will end up too close to the edge, or worse, completely cut. Once your whole booklet is designed, it's time to join the pages so we can print them. What I like doing is duplicating each folder, so if I make a mistake, I always have an editable page handy. Once each folder is duplicated, I merge each of them as a flat file by selecting the folder and right-clicking and selecting Merge Group, or you can press Ctrl E on Windows or Command E on Mac. If you do not have the pages in groups, select all the elements you want in a single page, hold the Ctrl key on Windows or Command key on Mac, then select each layer, then right-click and select Merge Layers, or you can press Ctrl E on Windows or Command E on Mac. Rename each flattened layer to the page number it will be on your final product. When renaming the layers, I usually rename them using page 1, page 2, page 3, and so forth. However, for the cover, I simply like to label it as outside, as at the end, this page will be the front and the back of the booklet, not a page inside. Afterwards, we will need to divide each page in half. There are 2 pages when creating a booklet that will never get divided, meaning we don't need to split those. And those will be the cover and back cover, aka the page outside, and the middle page. You will determine the middle page by the number of pages you have divided by 2. In this case, I have a total of 16 pages, including the cover and back cover. So divided by 2, that will be page 8. In this case, I used a central image, which was not added until the original booklet, but I thought it added a nice touch. You might have text like this booklet I made, and that is okay. So now that you have determined the pages that don't get split, I like marking them with a color by right-clicking the eye next to the layer and selecting a color. I will choose purple this time. Next, hide the layer visibility of all the layers, but leave page 1 visible. Using the marquee tool, select half of the page and right-click it. When this menu appears, select Layer via Cut. This will create 2 layers instead of 1, successfully dividing the page in 2. Rename each layer. I renamed them by renaming the left page, page 1A, and the right page, page 1B. And then I repeat this step with all the layers, except of course the ones that we determined that do not need splitting. After each page has been divided successfully, we're going to step away from the computer a little bit and grab some scrap paper and a pen or a pencil. Divide the page in equal parts to match the number of pages you will need. In my case, my booklet will be 16 pages, so I just need 8 pieces of paper. This is to make a mock-up of the booklet. The size of the pieces don't matter. It's mainly for visual representation. Once we have the number of pages we need, fold each one in half and stack them together until it resembles a booklet. With a pencil, start labeling each page, starting with the cover. Then in the first page, label the left side page 1A and the one on the right page 1B. Then move forward the same but with the next number of the page, like page 2A and page 2B, except the page in the middle. As you recall, it won't get divided. Just label the page in the middle, no need for A or B. Now that we have the mockup ready, it's time to make some notes. For demonstration purposes, I will be using a piece of paper to notate the pages that we will need to join, but this step is not necessary. You can do it directly on the editing software you're using. So start breaking down the mockup, starting with the first page. So the first page is the cover and back cover, the second page is so on and so forth. Go back to Photoshop and with your notes ready, start merging each layer together. After each layer is merged, arrange them in the way that you will be printing them and rename them. For example, 1A for the front, 1B for the back, 2A for the front, 2B for the back, and so on and so forth for each page. After each page is merged, go back to the OneDrive folder, but this time open the folder labeled paper sizes and download the file named either A4 or the letter size, depending on what type of paper you have. Open the file using either Photoshop or Photopea. Once open, go back to where you have your booklet and select the layer that contains the first page. Select the whole file by typing Ctrl-A on Windows or Command-A on Mac. This will select the file. Then type Ctrl-C on Windows or Command-C on Mac. Then go to the paper size file and type Ctrl-V on Windows or Command-V on Mac. This will paste the file in the middle of the page, but the cover will not be center. We will fix this in a bit. Repeat the process with the second page. This one will paste right in the middle. To fix the cover page, type Ctrl-T on Windows or Command-T on Mac, and this will open the transformation tool. We will not transform anything. We will simply use this as a guide. Glide the guide from the ruler and place it right in the middle. Then go back to the cover page and line the middle with the guide that we just placed. The reason why the cover did not place itself right in the middle is because, as you might remember, we did not extend the edge of the cover, since that will be our guide when cutting the final product. Once it's right in the middle, continue pasting all the pages until all of them are ready to be saved. If you are taking this to a printer center, I recommend you to also label each page as 1A to indicate one side and 1B to indicate the other side, and so on and so forth. You can also grab all the pages and convert them into a PDF and then asking for the printer to print front and back. It would also depend on your printer settings. When printing, make sure you select the correct paper you're using and select the highest quality. Also, make sure to print on real size or size 100%. If you are printing on a printer center, you might be able to request these settings. I constantly get questions regarding the type of paper I use. For this project, I am printing on a text paper, a magazine type paper that is printed with a laser printer, which gives it its nice shine. Once your pages are printed, we will start by marking the crease right on the middle of each page. I am using a ruler and my Cricut pickup tool to do this, but a bone folder or even an empty pen might work as well. Now this is specific to my project, but I'm using a craft knife to cut the center of the circle to imitate the cover and make it look a little bit more interactive. After each page is creased, I will fold each page in half. I am being careful because I do not wish for the pages to rip, which could happen. Once each page is folded, we will mark each page where the staples will go. I mark these measurements shown on screen from each side of the booklet. After each page has been marked, I pierce each of them with the staples manually, since this way we may have more control. Once each page is stapled, we can use the bottom of a craft knife to fold the prongs downwards and keep the staples in their place. Before cutting, make sure you staple the booklet in correct order. Lastly, I use the cover as a guide to cut the rest of the booklet. Place the ruler on the edge and firmly but lightly start running the craft knife on the edge until all the pages are cut. Repeat on the other two sides. And you're done. You've just completed a booklet with 15 plus pages. Now, quickly, I assembled the rest of the CD. If you want to learn how to create an extension of the cover in the inside of a CD tray, you will have to come back next video for that tutorial. And that is it for this video, everyone. Don't forget to like this video if you did, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And if you are, thank you so much. Don't forget that you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at CrafterTraining, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye! So with all of that being said, let's get started. Oh, está al revés.